You know, your house is actually keeping a secret from you. Every shirt you never wear, every book you've never cracked open, every single object collecting dust in the corners of your room, they aren't just possessions. They're actually reminders of a life you are no longer living. And honestly, that is exactly why you might feel so incredibly stuck right now. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to unpack the hidden psychological weight of the things we own.
Because those untouched boxes and massive piles of clothes, they aren't just inert objects taking up physical space. It's trapped energy. They're quite literally unmade decisions, abandoned identities, and past aspirations. And every single time you walk past them, they quietly drain your energy because they constantly remind you of things you just haven't dealt with.
Section 1. The secret in your house. Okay, so we really need to completely reframe how we look at our mess. Having a cluttered space isn't actually a sign that you lack basic organization skills. It's a psychological burden. It's physical evidence of mental procrastination.
To really bring this to life, let's meet our avatar for this explainer, Chiaki. 29 years old, successful career, great income, super busy schedule. From the outside looking in, her life seems completely put together and perfect, right? She represents so many of us who are highly functioning out in the world, but really struggling behind closed doors.
But here is the crazy contrast. Every single night, she comes home to absolute chaos. I mean, she's literally tripping over her own belongings. Her apartment wasn't just storing clothes or bags, it was preserving old versions of herself that she just couldn't let go of. Old hobbies, old dreams, old relationships. It's a really confronting reality when your private space contradicts your public success.
Section 2. The storage illusion. When we feel totally overwhelmed by our mess, we almost always make this one common, fatal mistake when trying to fix it. And honestly, it's a mistake we've been conditioned by society to make.
We tend to think we just have an organization problem, so we fall right into this doomed cycle. First, we buy more stuff. Second, naturally, we run out of room. Third, we go straight to the store and buy more storage boxes, bins, and fancy shelves. And fourth, we just fill them all right back up. Buying more boxes just treats the symptom. It never, ever cures the disease.
Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Storage is nothing but a cosmetic solution. Think about that for a second. Storage does not solve your clutter, it only hides it. And more importantly, it hides your inability to make a firm decision about whether you actually need an item in your life anymore. The real tragedy of this endless loop is that when you spread your storage out into every corner of your house, a box under the bed, a bin in the closet, a drawer in the kitchen, shelves out in the garage, you ensure that you never actually know what you own or how much of it you have. You just keep shoving things out of sight, staying completely trapped in the cycle.
A messy life inside a beautiful box is still a messy life. Let that breathe for a moment. You simply cannot organize your way out of decisions that you have been actively avoiding. At some point, you have to stop organizing and start making choices.
Section 3. The ultimate question. So if buying more storage isn't the answer, what is? We're going to shift to a totally paradigm-altering method that forces you to physically and emotionally confront every single item you own.
The world's most powerful organizing method starts with asking yourself this exact question. Does this spark joy? Now, it sounds incredibly simple, right? Maybe even a bit simplistic or cliché at this point, but I promise you, it isn't. Because the moment you honestly ask this question, it becomes intensely confronting.
When you hold an item, it becomes a vote. It's either a vote for the life you want to step into, or it's a fearful anchor tying you to the past. Every just-in-case item you hold on to is secretly saying, well, what if I never change? It's all about learning to physically feel that spark of joy, rather than just relying on cold, utilitarian logic.
Focus on what to keep, not what to discard. The core philosophy here is that tidying isn't about angrily throwing things in the trash or depriving yourself. It's actually about actively choosing the things that bring happiness into your ideal lifestyle. You are purposefully building your future, not just aggressively destroying your past.
Section 4. The mountain effect. Let's talk about practical execution here and totally debunk the single most common cleaning habit that virtually guarantees you will fail. Most people clean the old way, room by room. You clean the bedroom, then the living room, then the office. But that is exactly why nothing ever permanently changes. The new way requires you to gather items by category instead, not by location. And you always start with the easiest category, clothes.
Bring all your clothes here. All of them. Every shirt, every jacket, every pair of shoes from every closet, every hook and every drawer in the entire house, piled onto one single spot on the floor. When you physically confront every item you own all at once, it instantly shatters the illusion of how much you actually possess.
The source material calls this waking your dormant items up, because items shoved in the back of a drawer are essentially asleep. By pulling everything out onto the floor, exposing them to the light and air, you're forced to face the mountain you've built. You stop asking, what should I keep? And you are inevitably forced to start asking, why in the world do I own all this in the first place?
Section 5. The Energy Principle. Now, this sounds a little strange, but stay with me here. There is a deep psychological mirror effect between the state of your physical room and the state of your mind.
Notice this highly specific attention to detail from the method. Hang things so they rise to the right. Dark, heavy coats on the left, moving to light, airy blouses on the right. This physical line rising to the right naturally lifts your mood when you open the closet door. It brilliantly illustrates how treating your belongings with intention and respect physically uplifts the energy of your entire environment.
Respect your environment, and your environment starts supporting you. The way you treat your belongings really changes how you feel about your life. Throw clothes on the floor every day, your brain notices that lack of care. If you live in disorder, your mind slowly mirrors it. But intentional spaces, they foster intentional living.
Section 6. Creating your future. We've talked about the psychology and the method, but let's look at the actual real-world impact of completing this monumental process.
Tidying feels great. You can really sense the absolute liberation here. As Chiaki's apartment became physically lighter, her mind became clearer, decisions became easier, toxic relationships became obvious, new opportunities appeared. Nothing strictly magical happened. She simply removed the noise and could finally hear herself think for the first time in years.
Because ultimately, this explainer and the source material it's based on isn't actually about cleaning at all. It's about identity. Every single object you choose to keep answers one very profound question. Who are you becoming? Most people spend years and years meticulously preserving their past. Very few people intentionally create space for their future.
So, I really want to leave you with this final, vital thought. Look around the room you're in right now. The haunting question is, if you touched every single thing you own today, what would your life tell you? Think about that as you evaluate your own space. Make room for the life you want, not the one you've outgrown. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.